Hello ChatGPT, please make me a YouTube intro for a video titled Bullies in Korean Media. Webtoons mostly. What the? Well, seems like you gotta bear with my jokes. Japan, the fascinating wonderland full of really interesting and creative people really, that has managed to introduce towards the world a lot of really fascinating stuff. For example, like a restaurant that are fully served by robots who are remotely controlled by people who are bedridden. I know, fantastic stuff. And they are also the group of people who managed to introduce the world the newer form of media that is anime and manga, which are nowadays kind of accepted as one of the forms of media who has managed to create a lot of really fascinating stuff into the world. Now, it is important to understand that it hasn't always been this way. In the past, unfortunately, if you were caught to consume anime and manga, you would probably have been bullied. I mean, rightfully so, because in the past, anime and manga, they were associated with a lot of weird stuff. Because I mean, it's kind of fair. There are a lot of weird anime and manga out there in the world, okay? But perhaps it is the years and years of pumping a lot of masterpieces to the world, like High School DxD maybe, that has kind of cemented anime and manga to be a really acceptable form of media that can create a lot of masterpieces to cement it to the position that it has in this day and age. If you go up to your mates, your colleagues, and you tell them that you just consumed the One Piece live action that has come out in Netflix and you think it's quite good,
Just the best thing there is.
I don't think they would judge you too hard. Now, I do understand it's a live action, but it does retain the quirkiness of what makes the original anime and manga it was based on to be quite good in the first place. So I think it's quite a fair comparison. Now, let's think about something else. Let's think about how YouTube is kind of like a derivative of TV really. It basically kind of takes in TV and put it into like an internet form of content. It's basically, in a certain perspective, you can kind of see it as an evolution of TV. But even YouTube, which in itself is a derivative and an evolution, can't keep on staying the same. It needs to keep on improving and staying fresh because people needs change. People need something new and fresher each and every day, and YouTube has to deliver that. And to a certain extent, I would kind of see shorter form of content to be kind of like that. YouTube Shorts, TikTok, IG Reels kind of is a derivative that took inspiration and evolutionized longer form style content essentially. Now, I'm not gonna really push for the narrative that it is the newer form of content, we should embrace it. No, it's the same as YouTube. Just because it is a derivative and evolution doesn't mean it is going to take over completely. TV still exists, and even if TikTok blew up, YouTube would probably still exist. Maybe later down the line it will be different, but right now that's the case. Now, anime and manga needs to have their own evolution and changing, which they did do have some evolution and change. For example, if you look at anime, they have changed quite a lot throughout the years. For example, in the past, the way anime is just like a cartoon that is written and drawn in the style of Japanese media, they do have changed quite a lot. In the past, if you look at animes, they typically tend to have 30 to 50 episodes per season, which is quite a lot, with 20 to 30 minutes of airtime per episode, but usually 75% of them are fillers. So that's basically nothing burger every episode. Now, most certainly it has improved quite a lot. Anime has changed to around 12 to 16 episodes per season, but each episode still retains the 20 to 30 minutes airtime, but they are pretty much no filler inside of them, so that's like fully content, and it has definitely even evolutionized and changed a little bit recently. So one of the popular shows that are airing quite recently, like I think Oshinoko and Frieren, they both have their first episodes as kind of like a movie. It's a whole hour of just airtime of pure anime goodness. It's fucking fantastic. Now, let's look at manga. So manga is basically kind of like the same as anime. It's like a comic book written and drawn in the style of Japanese media. How do you really improve upon comic books? I mean, they did improve a little bit by like digitalizing basically a lot of their comic books. If nowadays, if you want to consume manga, you can probably download an app or look up a website that stores all this manga so you can consume them at any time. However, I think they needs to improve even further. In comes Webtoon. Webtoons are basically kind of like the TikTok is to YouTube, Webtoons is to comic books essentially. Because like, say this is a phone, say this is a book. Use your imagination, alright? So this is a book. Comic books are designed to be consumed in a landscape pattern, left to right. But Webtoons are basically just comic books that are designed to be consumed in a vertical pattern in your phone. They are designed to be consumed in your phone, kind of like TikTok, kind of like social media. So you'll be scrolling instead of like left to right, you'll be scrolling up and down, kind of like social media, like, I don't know, Reddit, IG, Twitter. You're just scrolling like that. That's another thing you can add to your brain rot. Now, a very interesting point about Webtoon. Despite having taken, I think, a lot of influences and derivatives from like mangas, the Japanese style comic books, don't quote me on that, the more popular Webtoons of this day and age, at least the ones I know and like based on my experience, is that they are the South Korean Webtoons rather than the Japanese ones. So, the South Korean Webtoons, this is a really important why I'm talking about it in the first place. So imagine, you're a South Korean author trying to make it big with a Webtoon story, and so Webtoon is not famous at this point, so you're thinking about your audience is probably going to be younger adults, like maybe like teenagers or even preteens, but like mostly mainly kind of be boys. Those are the target market. You're trying to write a story for them. They are South Koreans. What kind of story would you write? I guess I kind of ruined it for myself. Yes, it's in the title, but I gotta get you clicking somehow, right? Yeah. So like the author is writing about bullies. I know it's not really that funny. Fuck me. But I don't know. I think I just find it really interesting. So unfortunately, I don't know how true this is. I hope it's not as true as I think it is. But South Korea has quite the bullying problem. If you look at, for example, if you know the kdrama The Glory with Song Hye Kyo in Netflix that came out like I think the past year or like past 2 years, it covered the story of like an in real life bullying, someone that got bullied in high school, spent the rest like 10 to 20 years executing and planning a plan to get revenge against her bullies, which is unfortunate. And yeah, so that kind of portrays that South Korea does have quite the bullying problem quite a bit. And if COVID did anything good, I sure hope like improving the situation for bullying is certainly one of them. Now, I'm not gonna get too serious, but yeah, bullying is it makes sense, you know, because it's like such an emotional topic. It really captivates you and gathers your attention really quick. So it does make sense to write a story that really captivates your audience. And one of the most popular webtoon, definitely for me, that is kind of the gateway to a lot of people, is Lookism. I think it's an internet term, but no, it's the title of the webtoon that is really popular, to be honest. Lookism is covering a story about a kind of like a bullied individual that suddenly he got a new body that looks like he can be a new BTS member, and this new body is basically superhuman. He can just look at another person fighting and copies their fighting style and emulate it even better than the person he copied from. Now, imagine you're a bullied individual, you suddenly woke up in this kind of body, what will you do? Fight back against your bullies, would you? Well, you're wrong, because you've lived your life basically as a bullied individual. You've got your self-confidence broken from the beginning. You don't have self-confidence, and there are a lot of traits that got you bullied in the first place, right? Okay, whoa, victim blaming much? No. So, what I was trying to say is that the negative effects of being bullied for so long still sticks with Park Hyung-suk even though he got a new body. But don't worry about it too much because Lookism doesn't cover it too seriously. If you are looking for a piece of media that covers bullying in a meaningful and very serious way, this is most certainly not it. That's it. So it's really unfortunate, but you still kind of have to adapt to your new body of like looking as hot as like a BTS member. So that's a really interesting premise, I suppose. Like, it really captivates you and can keep retaining your attention for quite a long time. But here comes the problem. Revenge stories are really captivating, but they can only retain your attention for so long. Lookism is kind of the front runner for Webtoons a little bit. They're one of the main contributors, so you kind of expect to want the story to hold out for long. And you can't really keep focusing on the bullying aspect, right? And so the author delivered. The author expanded on the bullying part, and guess what he did? He made these bullies into gangs, alright? So basically these bullies, they are literally gangs. They force the students to pay protection fees so they don't get bullied, pull those money, and make a whole organization that profit out of those. I know, they're basically just high school entrepreneurs. Oh my god, dude, if you are able to do that at your high school, I don't know, maybe you're the next Jeff Bezos when you're an adult. And yeah, they go even beyond that, alright? They go throughout the whole district, the whole town, basically. They fight against other schools in the whole districts to gain control over the district in Seoul, the town where it's the setting, and they go again fight against the gang that control other districts as well. So it's a whole gang fight situation. They go as far. So the gangs, see, they're entrepreneurs. They don't want to just stop making profit just from protection fee. That's minuscule. So they go expand. What did they expand from? They expand into underground gambling and narcotics. They open up like an underground fighting ring. I know, it's pretty chaotic, but that's part of the charm. So Lookism has a lot of like action and comedy, and that is kind of the focus, and the author do understand that and keep on focusing on the good parts of the webtoon. And by expanding it to different gang fights, it definitely do holds a lot of those action and comedy part that makes the webtoon so good in the first place. I wasn't lying when authors do kind of gravitate towards the topic of like the bullying part, because there has been quite a lot of different webtoons. I don't know if they did take influence from Lookism in the first place because it was quite popular, or maybe some other webtoon was the one who influenced it. Regardless, there are a lot of different webtoons out there that do take kind of center focus on the topics of like gangs, fights, and etc. that started from bullying, okay? So I'm gonna throw something out like Weak Hero, viral hit. There's also like the one with the gambling that I don't remember the title of. There's plenty of them out there, and that's just from one website, okay? One app, and it's just really fascinating. And it's honestly a really good gateway if you want to get into webtoon in the first place. It's kind of like, I don't know, what would be an equivalent for like American TV shows? I think Riverdale, Stranger Things, Breaking Bad, if they were all actually bad. And that's kind of like how you kind of want to introduce someone to get into American TV shows, kind of like Death Note and One Punch Man is to someone wanting to get into anime, let's say. And Lookism is definitely one of them. And if you prefer like a shoujo type of genre, like focus more on like the ones that appeal more to female audience, you can kind of get into maybe True Beauty. True Beauty is about like someone who's also bullied because of her looks, and I don't know if you have a look at it, but like some people can get makeup to look completely like a different person. And basically the main character who was bullied in True Beauty, a different webtoon to Lookism, she can do makeup that make her look as pretty as a female K-pop idols basically. Those are one of the other gateways for if you want to prefer something that caters more to a female audience. And if you have consumed them, or maybe, I don't know, you have stuck around until this time, even though I bore you about like webtoons that you have already consumed, first of all, thank you so much for sticking around. You're the best, mate. And you can go ahead and consume a lot of different ones as well. Like, I think Helper, HELLPER is pretty good. There's plenty. I'm gonna throw out some recommendations. Roxana, Leviathan, Tales of the Unusual, Anasura Manara, Dr. Frost is pretty good, Bastard is pretty good, Stepmother's Martian is also really good. There's plenty of really good webtoons out there for you to consume. And I suppose if you don't really appeal to like kind of like the nerdy stuff, maybe just look up PORNHWAs. There's a lot of really good ones, okay? Just look it up. And if like like mangas do have their own, right? But those ones are usually black and white. For PORNHWAs, they are colored, fully colored. Amazing. Go ahead and look it up. And I think that's about it. I don't know. I just want to show you some kind of gateway and introduction to webtoons. The amazing world of webtoons. There are plenty of really good ones out there. And I don't know. I think that's about it. I hope you enjoy webtoons as much as I did personally. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great rest of your day. Bye bye.